Hey there, welcome back to my Site Code Diaries. I am Jitendra Ganekar, your host, and today we are diving into the next episode of C Sharp tutorial series. Today we are going to discuss about a key topic that is loops in C Sharp. I would love to connect you on my social media accounts. All my social media accounts are given on the screen. Do follow me on it and keep updated about the channel. So what we are going to cover in this video, as usual, I will give an overview of the loops. Then we will move to the all the loops. Okay, so we are going to see while loop, do while loop, for each loop, and we will also see what is the difference between for loop and for each loop and when to use those. Then we will see nested loops, break and continue statement, which are very critical in C Sharp. So break and continue also we will see. At the end, we will touch to a special section for IT student. We are going to see few sample programs. Those are, we will check if how to check a number is a prime number. Then we will see how to calculate a factorial, printing a triangle. Then we will see how to print the primary numbers between the interval. So those examples we will see, actually the actual code we will see. Before we dive into the details, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, do hit the subscribe button, and yes, do ring the notification bell also to get the latest update. If you like the video, then do like, share and provide your feedback through the comment. Your feedback is very valuable to me. So all right, let us start today's topic. Let's see overview. In programming often requires a repeated execution of a sequence of operation. A loop is a basic programming construct that allows repeated execution of a fragment of a source code. Depending on the type of the loop, the code in it is repeated a fixed number of times or repeats until a given condition is true. So in your logic, you might need to repeat some logic. Okay, you need to loop some logic. In that case, you will use the loops. Okay, loop is a basic programming syntax, okay, that allows you to repeat the specific lines of a code. Okay, and the way it is done is like way it is looped is either you have a fixed number of iteration, okay, or there might be a condition. If that gets satisfied, then the loop will get executed, and if it is gets false, and then the loop you will get out of the loop. Okay, so this is basically the what do you say, loops are basically a code of a programming construct or code syntax which will help you to repeat the execution of the few lines or lines of a code. So what we are going to see in today's video is while loop, do while loops, for loop and for each loop. Along with that, we will see what is the break statement, what is the continue statement, and also the nested loops. So let's start with the while loop. So you can see on the screen the flowchart of a while. So how it works: when the loop will start, it first of all it will check the condition. Okay, so there must be some condition in the while loop. If that condition gets satisfied, then the loop, the body loop will happen. I mean the whatever the body is written within the while loop, that will get executed. This will happen till your condition is true. Okay, once your condition is false, then it will come out from the loop and it will come outside the loop, and the next line of a code will get executed. So this is the workflow of the while loop. And then what is the syntax of while loop? If you see on the screen now, this is the syntax of while loop. You write a while, and then in the bracket you will have your condition, and in the bracket you will have the body of the while loop. Okay, so this is the condition in the while loop, and this is the body of your while loop. So let's take an example. If you see here an example, I have initialized the one counter that is equal to 0. So I have written a while loop here. If counter is less than 10, then write some the counter is reached to whatever the number it reached. Okay, and then I increase the counter value. So this loop will get executed till this condition get false. So we have started with 0, so it will reach to the 9, it will get inside, but when it will reach to the 10, that condition will get this will not get satisfied. So 10 is not less than 10. Okay, so it will come out and it will get executed this line. Okay, so this is how the while loop works. Now next thing is the do while loop. It is something similar to the while loop, but if you see in the flowchart, okay, there is a slight difference here in the execution. In the while loop, the loop body was after the condition, but here first the loop body will get executed. The first the code which you want to repeat, that will get executed, and then the condition will be checked. So here also if the condition is a true, then the loop will continue. If it is false, then it will come outside the loop. Okay, so what is the syntax for the do while? So first you write a do, then you write a loop body, and in while condition you write a condition. Okay, in while loop. So this is your loop body and this is your condition. First the line of a code which you want to repeat, that will come first, and then the condition. So example, same example we are taking, but in this different structure, different syntax, where we are using a do while loop here. So integer count, as we are initializing here, what it is doing is I am writing the counter number and increasing the counter, and then we are checking if the counter is less than 10. Then if this condition is satisfied, then again the it will go into the loop and it will again print whatever the count is reached to, and then increase the counter. It will happen till the condition is dissatisfied. Like if it reaches to the 10, then this is not satisfied, then it will come to the next line and this will get executed. So this is the do while loop. Now we will see for loop. So this is the workflow of the for loop. Okay, there are three important stages in the for loop. First is the initialization. You have to initialize the counter here. Okay, then second step is the condition. Then you execute the loop body, and the third stage is the update. Okay, so what is happening is, first of all, you will start initializing. Says you will have some counter, you will have some condition, you will execute the loop body, and you will increase that counter, and again it will go back to the condition. It will again check if the condition is true, then again the loop body will get executed. This will continue till the condition become false. Once it is false, it will come out to the loop. Okay, so how does the syntax looks like? This very important loop. Okay, you will be using it many of the time, the most of the time. Okay, so if you see here, first statement in the for loop, integer I is equal to 0. This is called as the initialization. So you are initializing a variable here with a 0 value. So I value is 0 here. Okay, then the next is a condition. So if you are checking here, I is less than or equal to 10. Okay, if this is the condition, if it is true, then only the loop body will get executed. And then this is the update. You are updating the integer, the variable which you are initialized here, so that will become I plus plus. So it will get increased every time this loop will happen. Okay, and then your loop body will get executed. Okay, so this is the syntax for a for loop. If you take the example of the same thing, if you see here, there is a for loop where I initialize I is equal to 0, then less than 10, I plus plus, and a printing counter is reached to 0. So it will always print the counter, the I value here, and then it will get increased and it will again loop it. Okay, this is how for loop is executed. Now we will see for each loop. The workflow will almost remain same, that the initialization part may not be explicit here, that we have to do. Okay, for each basically used for the iterating within the collections or array, okay, or a list. Okay, for that for each loop is used. Here the other things are same. It's the same way it works like for loop, just the syntax is different and the way it is used is different. Okay, if you see the syntax here, you have a collection. Okay, collection is what is collection, that we will see, maybe see later, but for now you will understand that collection will be a set of values within it. Okay, it is like a array. Okay, it is a list of items within the collection. Okay, so that for each is basically iterating all those items individually. Okay, so this is how it will work. You have to write a for each, and it will take the value from the collection, each value, and then it will loop the body and it will execute the repeated code. Okay, example is like this. Here if you see, this is how I will define the array of an integer array collections, where I have taken the collection from 0 to 9. Okay, and then you have written a for each where it is iterating through each item of the collection. So each iterating through each item here in collection, where item is, so first item will become 0, and then it will type, then 1 2 3, like that it will loop till the point the your collection will end. Okay, this is how the for each loop works. Now if you see the working of the way it is executed for loop and for each loop, it is same, and you can alternatively use also. But when to use for loop, when to use for each loop? So if the for loop is a general purpose loop that allows you to specify the initialization condition and iteration expression in the single line. Okay, it is a general purpose. You can use it for a general purpose where you can initialize the value, or initialize the condition. Okay, you can give the condition, and you can have the expression executed. Okay, so this is how your for loop will work. Whereas for each loop is specially designed for iterating over the elements. As I told you in previous slide, that it will iterate each item from the collection. So it is designed for that. Okay, so it is used such as array, list, and other types that implement enumerable interface. It is basically for the collection of items, whereas for loop is general purpose, you can use for anything. So for loop basically typically used when you know the exact number of iteration you want to perform. As you see in the syntax, that where you have to define the condition, you should be knowing the exact number of the iteration you want to do. Okay, whereas for each loop it simplifies the process of iterating through the element. Okay, especially used when you don't need to track the index explicitly. There's no need to track what is required, what is the index of the element in that list. Okay, in that case you use the for each loop. Overall, if you summarize it, both the thing, so for loop, use a for loop when you need a precise control over the number of iteration. That is very important. You need a control over the number of iteration, and when you want to explicitly manage the loop variables. Whereas for each loop, use for each loop when you are iterating over the elements in the collection. Okay, if you are trying to use the collection and you are trying to iterate through the collection, then you have to use a for each loop. Do not need to access the index of the elements. So if there is no need to access the index, then you can go for a for each loop. Next, we are going to see nested loops, breaks, and continue statement. This is how break and continue is used. Break is to break your loop. Continue is to skip the inner iteration, whatever the iteration which you are doing. That to skip that, you can use a continue. So the next topic is used with a sample example. So we'll see the uses of all four loops with the sample example. For that, we will go to the Visual Studio directly. Common class where I have written all four examples. Okay, for example of a code, we will program calculate the factorial of a number. So let's find out the factorial of number 5. Okay, so factorial of 5 is given as a 120. All right, we have completed today's topic. Loops are critical to write any program. If you like today's content, then do click on a like button and share a video with your friends and colleagues. Do provide your feedback or ask any question you have using the comment section. Of course, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and click on a notification bell to get the latest update. Thank you. Thanks for watching.